Welcome back to Cami Designs, and today we're going to be finishing up this last sock. Now we're going to do a Kitchener stitch. So what I've done is I've got my total of 24 stitches. I've got 12 on the front and 12 on the back. And I'm going to stitch these together, so I'm going to need to cut. I like to have a lot of yarn to work with, so I'm just going to cut it right here. That gives me quite a bit of yarn to work with, because I'm always afraid of running out of yarn. Okay, I'm going to thread it onto my needle here. Now I'm going to take that off. I don't need that. I can always put it on this end if I need to. Okay. Now I need to set it up first. And here I'll show you what the setup is. To set up the Kitchener stitch, I need to purlwise on the first stitch on the front needle and leave it on the needle. Then I'm going to knitwise through the first stitch on the back needle and leave it on. And that's just to set up. So I'm going to get that out of the way here. Oops. Okay, so I need to purlwise on the front needle. So purlwise, let me zoom in here a little bit better. Purlwise is to go just like you would purl, and I just want to pull it through because I want to leave it on, so just like that. And then I want to knit through the first stitch on the back needle, and I'm also leaving that stitch on. There we go. Now that sorry, that is the setup. Now the Kitchener stitch, let me zoom back out here, is I'm going to knit the first stitch on the front needle and slip it off. Then I'm going to purl the second stitch on the front needle and leave on. Then I'm going to purl the first stitch on the back needle and slip it off. And then I'm going to knit the second stitch on the back needle and leave it on. So it's knit off, purl, purl off, knit. And so the front needle is knit off, purl, purl off, knit. So let me show you how that goes. So I'm going to, let me zoom back in here. So I want to knit. So I'm going in like I'm knitting this one. And I want to slip that one off. So that can go, slide my needle here a little bit. Knit off. So that goes right off the needle. Then I'm going to purl. Like I'm going to purl, so I go this way, and I want to leave that one on the needle. Then I go to my back needle, and I want to purl, but I want to take that one off the needle. There we go, slip it off. And then I want to knit. So go into, like I'm going to knit this one on the back needle. And I'm going to leave that one on. So I'm going to go back to the front needle. So it's knit off, and then purl, and leave that one on. Oops, I want this yarn underneath my needle. Then I want to purl off, push that right off the needle here, if I can get it. There we go. So that's purl off and go through knitwise on the back needle and leave that one on. And so we just keep repeating. Knit off and purl. You notice I keep pulling it tight, so it's closing this up as I go. And this is purl off. And if you notice, I'm keeping this yarn under my needles. And then knit. So this is knit off, purl, this is going to be purl off, and get my needle in there. Make sure I'm going in, yeah, okay. So it's going to be purl off, under my needle here. That one was to go off, and then knit. My stitches are a little tight here. There we go. I'm going to leave that one on. Then I go back to my front needle, and it is knit off, and I'm going to purl, and this is going to be purl off, slide that needle back on there, and then knit through this one. There we go. You can see that's starting to close it up here. And so you just keep repeating this. Knit off, purl, I'm going to take this thing off there. So I want to purl off, knit. I'm just going to pull it, make sure my yarn stays under my knitting needles here. Okay. Now I want to knit off, purl, slide my knitting needles there so my stitches don't fall off. And I want to purl off, and pull my, oops. See, I want to make sure this is underneath my needle here. There we go. And that one, and then I have to knit this to this one. I didn't realize my stitches were so tight, but they are. There we go. And then we go back to the front here, and we knit off. Oops. That's okay. And then we need to, so that was knit off, and then this is purl. And once again, we are leaving that on, putting my thread, my yarn underneath my needle here. Okay, and now the back is, oh, I need to purl this one first. Purl, and this one I want to slip off. I'm kind of holding my stitches with my finger as well. And then knit. And this is a yarn needle I'm using. They come in plastic or metal. I think you can get the plastic ones at Walmart. I'm not sure if they carry these steel ones or not. Okay, so I want to knit off, purl, and then I want to purl off, knit, and you'll see that I'm getting down to my last few stitches here. And I'm just going to show you the whole thing so you can see how to finish it. Okay, And that was my knit, so now I'm back to the front. I want to knit off, purl, and I want to purl off, and then I need to knit through this one here. There we go. And now we're back to the front. So we're going to knit off and purl. We're going to leave that one on there, so there's one stitch on the front. And then we're going to do the same. We're going to do it on the back again, so it's purl off, and knit through this one. Now, since we're at one stitch each, we're just going to repeat steps 1 and 3. So I'll show you what those are real fast here. Zoom back out. So, and I put a little asterisk next to it, so I need to repeat 1 and 3. So I need to knitwise through the first one, and then I go right to purlwise on the back one. So let me zoom back in here, show you that. So now I just need to knit off this one. So let's get rid of that needle here. And then I want to purlwise this one and slip it right off. And there you go. That is the Kitchener stitch. And you can see that it's all nice and stitched together. And then this, what I would do is I turn my sock, let me zoom out here again. I turn my sock inside out here, just a little bit to start with, because I want to poke this needle. I just want to poke it into the inside of my sock here. And I'll pull it through my sock and then turn my sock inside out now. It's a little stiff right now because I haven't washed the socks, but they will loosen once I wash them. So now I'm back to the inside of my sock here, and what I can do is just weave these in like I would weave in anything else. So I just, pick anywhere to weave in my ends, just like that. Just like that, and then I just weave it. And I am weaving it towards the top of the foot and not the bottom side of the foot, because I just don't like to walk on an extra bump of yarn here. And so that is the finished sock. I'll just turn this inside out so you can see the whole thing. And there you go. That is the finished sock. So you have one that we did on circular needles, and then this one here we did on the double pointed needles. And if you notice, if you've been following along, the circular needles, it only really, which is this, yeah, I'll show you. It only works good when you're doing the long distance of the foot, or the cuff, or the leg part. When you're doing the heel flap, the heel turn, the decrease of the toe, and then this Kitchener stitch, you're going to need double pointed needles. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. These are Knitter's Pride. I think they're the Zing. And these are US 1.5, and it's 2.50 millimeter. I can zoom in, there we go. And then this is the same size, but in the Chogu, and I think it's a 8-inch round or 9-inch round. So that's what we used. And then this is just the yarn needle. And then I will go in and I'll finish weaving in. And then I'll just cut the string and then I can wash them. And this is Red Heart Super Saver. Oops. Red Heart Super Saver pooling. And it is the papaya pooling. Or some might just say papaya. And that's it. So thanks for watching. And this ends our sock videos. And if you like this video, I please ask that you like and subscribe. And give me a thumbs up. And I'll show you these here. And it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It just lets YouTube know that people like my videos, and it'll recommend them to other people. So that is the setup. And then those are the 4 steps. And I just wrote this down here just because this is the kind of hum I do. Knit off purl, purl off knit. And it's the front needle and the back needle. And that is it. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!